My name is Josh Perelman-Hall. I grew up in Cleveland Heights, Ohio, and my musical background is heavily influenced by 60s music. I was the resident Beatles fanatic at my high school. I was known for only wearing t-shirts that were in some way associated with the Beatles. It was kind of my personality. High school, you know. Anyway, and then I grew into being a huge fan of the Beach Boys as well, and generally exploring a lot of what the 60s pop genres had to offer. I also have musical background playing jazz, and I have some musical training in my background, but I like to pretend like I don't because too much knowledge can get in the way. I have been taking music lessons, or I took music lessons for quite a while, so I started playing piano in like first grade. I really didn't like it. But somewhere along the line, and I took clarinet and saxophone and guitar lessons through my middle school and high school years. But somewhere in there, I realized that I actually did like playing piano as long as I could play. What got me back into playing music, and I think maybe what got me into being a musician in general, was playing video game music. So I really wanted to play music from the Mario series. I was like, I have to play that. If I can learn that, I'll be a master of piano. So that's what kind of got me back into playing music seriously, and then that led to a more serious interest in, like I said, the Beatles. That got me into learning guitar, and I wanted to replicate their sound, so that's kind of my musical upbringing. I look back and I see a lot of different sources of inspiration for why I was making music at the time. I think the first iteration of inspiration was, I want to do a sort of 60s inspired, faithful 60s production of, cover songs, because I thought that was kind of a cool take, which I actually go back and listen, I was like, these are kind of cool. But it was very much like I didn't want to do anything that was mine. I wanted to just sort of show that I was able to put these puzzle pieces together, and that was inspiring. I loved arranging those songs and kind of figuring out how would I take this modern pop song or this whatever, these songs, and do them in this style. And I think it was a good chance to flex those muscles and figure out how that works in arranging a song. But then after that, I kind of got more into, it was inspired by like internet humor or lack thereof. It's just this sort of weird, ironic music joke, meme, but not type of just making weird things that I think the inspiration there and a lot of the drive behind that was things that I found funny, but things that I thought other people would find funny, which is fine. And I think that a lot of people make things with that intention. But as I continue to grow into a musician with my own, outlook, I think something that I've come to realize is really important is, and what inspires me these days, is for each person, we have something that we love about music or about life, the things that we just intrinsically love. And I think that there's a big leap of faith that you have to take when making music and saying, these are the things that I love. I'm going to put them in the music that I make and hope that other people will love the music that I make for the same reasons that I love the music that I make. And you kind of have to say, I'm gonna put this part of me in here and just hope that everybody sees it the same way that I do. People who you've talked to have said writing music or producing or whatever these days is a struggle because of COVID and just sort of general lack of inspiration. And I would say I agree with that on one side, in that COVID makes it feel kind of pointless to release music. I don't know exactly where that comes from, either if that feels like there's no audience or there's no pressure or whatever. But for me, I've found COVID and quarantine is a good chance to reflect on why I make music and, like you said, what inspires me. And I think as I look back at what I've made, so in my career writing music as Josh isn't, but beyond that, I am a member of 2 bands. So the first band might be familiar. It's the Michael Weber Show, a explosive rock group from Akron, Ohio. I love playing with Michael and James and Silly Billy. Band number 2 is I am 1/3 of the Prom Queens. We call ourselves a glam folk pop trio, based in Cleveland. The band is comprised of myself and singers Hannah Leach and Ayanna Cheston, and it's a harmony-driven, sort of folky pop experience where the idea is our live performances are more acoustic-y. It's usually I'm playing the instruments, either guitar or piano, accompanying them doing harmony lead vocal. And it's a really cool, really fun band to be in. I am the scorer. I am the scorer. I don't know if that's the right way to say that. I produce the music for the podcast known as Wholehearted Podcast. That's a super fun role. It's so different than creating songs for artists or for bands. It's fun to work within the parameters of I need a 1 minute long song, and at the 40-second mark we need a jump in energy or whatever. That type of project is super fun for me, and the Wholehearted Podcast is to describe it briefly, it is a series of interviews and personal essays around the people's wholehearted commitment to people, places, things, ideas. So that is one that I hold near and dear to my heart. Yeah, so I'm not posting a ton. I know that's kind of a common theme with COVID. I'm not posting a ton of new music, but if you want to go check out what I have created, the Josh Isn't brand is, you can find me across YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. YouTube is where most of the meat of the content is. And then for the Michael Weber Show, they're also on all those platforms. I know Facebook is a big one, but Michael's stuff is up on YouTube, and the Prom Queens are on Spotify. The Prom Queens Menagerie is their album there, and same thing with Fig, Baby, that can be found on Spotify to check those out. But yeah, give me a follow on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and you may eventually see some new material being released.